This club's about winning trophies. I'm inexperienced in a lot of those things.
3-0.
Can you believe it?
Almost lost the cup and you win it. The new European champions, the treble, the dream come true for you.
Oh, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Football, bloody hell. But they never give in. And that's the winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we are bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Ooh, sir. How you doing? How long has it been since it's been United football? It feels like a lifetime. I am ready to go. Get back in action. I hope you're well rested, sir. We got a lot of football coming up.
Sir, I've never been more excited for a game against West Brom, which I'll be unbelievable, sir. Saturday, can't wait. United are back. International football is dead until March. And boy, strap in. Fixtures coming fast and furious. December's going to be insane. Pod never sleeps, sir. Unbelievable. Can't wait.
Can't wait. Didn't need an international break. I'll tell you what, the players don't need more games. Don't need to be traveling around the world while there's a global pandemic. But that being said, we are certainly excited for United to be back. Saturday, marquee game. Not quite marquee game, but we're getting the nude showing with Peacock, noon Pacific at least. So big match, very winnable opponent. You know, anything less than
noon? I thought you said nude showing. So
noon. I think I said nude.
Shirts and
hopefully
skins?
not nude.
Sorry.
But hopefully a battering of West Brom. We need the points, we need the results, and we need to start off this long run of fixtures with a big win.
No, absolutely. We need the win. West Brom, they're decently 18th in the table, struggling, although we don't really check the table. That's the rule here at the podcast. We break every single week.
Break a lot of rules.
West Brom Saturday, Istanbul Tuesday, Southampton Sunday, 6 a.m., sir. 6 a.m., not quite the 4:30 a.m. wake-up call, but Southampton, that's sleeper. They're doing very well this season, so we're going to have to be able to step up our game there. Then we got PSG the following Wednesday, the Sunday-Wednesday turnaround, then West Ham, then RB Leipzig, then the Manchester Derby, December 12th, sir. We're not, it's early December, and we're just ripping.
You got any plans? You got any plans next couple of weeks, sir?
Pod football. That is what we do. Oh, by the way, I'm moving. I'm moving mid-December as well. Throw that in there. The one-year-old baby, sir, and the pod. We never sleep, though. We're getting it done. Love Manchester United. Love this club, and I love holiday fixtures more than anything.
Who needs sleep? This counts as a holiday fixture. I guess it's a Thanksgiving, pre-Thanksgiving match, so we'll call it what it is. Is this all holiday match? Has it started right now? Maybe.
No, I'm talking December. You know, it's like
basically the whole thing is the holidays, right? We have so many matches that you might as well call it what it is. We're gonna have nonstop football until January, and based on how cups go, we might be playing through then. So a lot to play for, and we need to get on a good run. Ole is streaky. We know that about him, and we need to get on a good streak right now and go on a tear.
No, absolutely. 9 games in December. 9 games. Unbelievable. In there, you got PSG, you got RB Leipzig, you got City, you got Leeds. Big match. That will be fun. Leicester, Everton, and Wolves. So there's not an easy match in any of those. And look, I'm just excited as a fan. Wherever we end up, we were able to fight back, got that big Everton win. Going to West Brom, hopefully that's a must win. We'll set the tone for rotation going forward in the Champions League, qualify, get to the next round of the Champions League tournament, sir. And then, what a league title. You never won a title.
One step at a time. We got to get this win because those games you talked about after the West Brom match, even Southampton, they are not a pushover by any means. So it's a must win because it's a very accessible win. It's got to be a win that's seen as like you got to take those 3 points all day long and move on to the next one.
It's just business,
exactly.
Right? That when you West Brom at home is business. You need the 3 points. You gotta get Dan James in there. You gotta get Cavani in there. Jesse Lingard maybe get in there.
Mata.
You need to be able to rotate, and then you need to be able to take it to Istanbul, coming into OT again. At least we got. The thing is, playing Old Trafford. It kind of makes me nervous this season. For some reason, we haven't shown up at home. I don't know how that's not possible, but to be able to play West Brom Saturday, then Istanbul Tuesday, I think that's a good turnaround.
No, I mean, all things considered, most top teams have a lot of players that are on international duty, so they've been traveling, depending on where they're from. but it's going to be very important to get, the team fit and firing. The fact that we're playing at home, we have less travel, on a relative basis once they get back from their home countries. Maybe that's something, but we just need to win. We need to win at home. We need to turn the juju around. The fact that we have like a bad record this season to date. It's an early season at Old Trafford. Can't stand.
No, absolutely not. And I think having these two games, so if something goes wrong in these two games, that's concerning as a fan, right? Because you really need to be able to regroup. A lot of the team was able to rest. We do have a lot of internationals. Dan James scored a worldie. Cavani got a red. We'll get into that update a little later on the podcast, sir. But, it's kind of one of those things where you got a lot of internationals, Paul Pogba chirping as well. What do you make of that?
Sort of get into it. We haven't even done the PSA for the pod yet. Let's save it for the news, but Pogba. We could talk about it all day. Otherwise, we go for 2 hours, sir. Pog who? I got Bruno Fernandes on our team.
Look, not only do we have the West Brom preview, we got the second edition of Manchester United history, sir. Big era here, the founding of Manchester United, John Henry Davies. We have Magnol coming in as the first big manager of Manchester United, lifting the first title. We'll get into that later in the podcast, but this is a packed pod. It's international break. We're making up ground. We're getting ready. We're gearing up for these fast fixtures, sir. Cannot wait. Cannot wait.
Cannot wait. Start with a bang. Let's start with West Brom.
All right, quick PSA for the podcast. You can support us on Patreon yet. We are two fans on the couch giving you that biased take, and we love being supported by you, the fans. We don't have any special sponsors on the podcast. It's just me and Alex in the bunker, the famous podcast bunker attached to his garage with no heat or cooling. So we sweat, we freeze. That's how we do. Pod never sleeps. The reason why Patreon is so great is you can pick a tier. You can sign up from anything from $1 a month to $20 a month. We have scarves, we have pins, we have different giveaways for different tiers. It's a great way to support the podcast. If you're not into Patreon, you can support us by buying some merch in our online store, www.americanreddevils.com. While you're there, also check out the amazing fan-generated content. Shout out to all the American Red Devils contributors. Sir, you're doing a great job. Editor-in-chief there. Drop a review on iTunes. We're still doing the sticker giveaway, and we have our new American Red Devils badge logo stickers we'll be sending out. Drop 5 stars on iTunes, some cheeky banner. Email it to americanreddevils@gmail.com, and we'll ship you a free sticker. Those iTunes reviews go a long way. That's the number one way new fans find us is via iTunes, and subscribe on YouTube, sir. I think that's the PSA. I can talk about how excited I am for these fixtures coming fast and furious, sir. What are the wives? Are the wives going to kill us here? We got this many podcasts, this many matches?
Oh, they might. They certainly might. I think I warned my wife that there are a lot of games coming. Remember Christmas last year? It's like that. Boxing Day, just over and over again. We've got a lot to look forward to. Hopefully the boys show up and give us something to be excited about, because if it's a loss against Brom, a loss against Istanbul, it's going to be a tough start to this long run of fixtures.
I don't think it is going to be. Maybe that's just because we've been away from the game for a little bit, and, I just think Manchester United are going to win the title every year. And somehow I'm sorely disappointed, but I'm feeling very bullish. I think this international break came at the right time. So there was never a better time to pip Everton than before the international break, right?
I agree with that. I don't know if this international break came exactly when we wanted to come. Some people were getting runouts, good minutes, right? Dan James, Donnie. Before Cavani got the red, he did get a goal in the earlier game. Pogba, he's happy. He's having a great time. So, you might be right, but it's all about how we show up on Saturday at home, last game of the day, up against a team that's in the relegation drop. There's no excuses.
Yeah, the boys just got to turn up. That's right. We're talking about our next match, Manchester United versus West Bromwich. I'll be on FC Old Trafford Saturday, November 21st, 12 p.m. Pacific. Sir, it is Peacock Premium. You've heard me rant about Peacock Premium, but we have all these streaming services here at the American Red Devils, and then they're advertising these shows. So I was like, oh well, Yellowstone, I might as well watch this show.
Yeah.
Guess what? Peacock Premium during the show they show you commercials for guess what? Peacock Premium. So you're watching the show, and then you have to watch Peacock Premium advertisements during the show. So if you thought Peacock Premium was bad, try watching anything else on Peacock Premium, and they'll just advertise Peacock Premium to you. Doesn't really make any sense to me. I would think premium would mean you wouldn't have commercials. I think you pay them so you don't have to watch the commercials.
That's the next level. Service. That's the next level up. Premium is for suckers, apparently. We're actually posting an article tomorrow on the blog about streams, about the fact that you have Peacock, Bleacher Report, Stream. We got another one, ESPN
BR
Plus,
Live
BR Live.
ESPN Plus is tolerable. It's the CBS All Access that they have to access through Amazon Prime, and then the Champions League channels, they don't even tell you what specific game there is. So you have to click on them randomly to find the Manchester United game. Nothing really makes sense in this streaming world. It's 2020. You thought technology would solve all of our problems. It seems to be mo technology, mo problems. Sir, let's get into this West Brom match. One lifetime, 56 matches against West Brom. Drawn 32, lost 44. West Brom. I mean, those are some numbers, sir. If you look at the Chelseas of the world, we do better against them. United have only won 2 of their past 5 matchups, with West Brom losing 2, drawing 1. They might be our boogeymen, sir. You also remember Sir Alex Ferguson's final match as Manchester United manager was a chaotic 5-5 draw at West Brom. You remember that?
Lukaku with the Hattie.
Yeah, I think so. I was like, he wasn't playing for United,
for the opposite side,
yeah,
sir.
You are correct. That was May 19th, 2013, end of an era. I remember being very sad that he didn't win his final match, but what a way to go out. Guns blazing, sir. Shout out to Sir Alex Ferguson. 1,500 matches over nearly 27 years. It comes to an end, and like it should have. A 5-5 crazy shootout with West Brom. They went down, they came up, and now we're playing them, sir. Our form coming into it, Manchester United are winless in their 4 Premier League home matches this season. Time to break that bad juju all day. So, that's terrible form. Terrible.
Conceding more goals than any other home side with 10. Obviously, highly impacted by the Spurs calamity, right? No one wants to mention the fact we went down a player, but we got to turn things around. Defense is looking stronger. Now we just got to do the job at home.
And no team have gained more Premier League points from losing positions this season than Manchester United's 9, with the Red Devils coming back to win 3 of the 5 matches in which they have trailed. A little history here. West Bromwich Albion Football Club is an English professional football club based in West Bromwich, West Midlands, sir. The Midlands. Absolutely love it. The club was formed in 1878 and has played all of his matches as home ground. The Hawthorn, sir. 1878, little history for you. The Yale News becomes the first daily college newspaper in the U.S. Shout out to Yale. And the Tokyo Stock Exchange is established in 1878. Damn, that's pretty early. Going back.
Floodlights also opened at Bramall Lane, but we've used that before. Sort of throwing it back. This is old school English.
1878. They're one of the OGs in English football. Put some respect on their name, sir. Albion, they were one of the 12 founding members of the Football League in 1888, the first professional football league in the world. We did talk about that in our last history segment, how United eventually came in to the first division after the merging of football leagues, I believe a little later. The club has been champions of Europe once in 1919-20 and has been runners-up twice. Albion teams have reached 10 FA Cup finals and won the cup on 5 occasions. They got some trophies in that cabinet. The team has played navy blue and white stripes for most of the club's history, and the badge features a throstle perched on a hawthorn branch. The little bird, a throstle perched.
Now you know.
Shaking my boots. The throstle scares me. And Albion has a number of long-standing rivalries with other West Midlands clubs in traditional rivals being Aston Villa and Wolves. Albion contest the Black Country Derby with the latter. So Wolves and Albion, that's an interesting match. That'd be a great derby to watch. Love to know about the connection.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you match these two teams up together 10 years ago, you would get some stale English football. These days, Wolves are certainly trying to turn that a little bit on its head, playing total football, whatever you want to call it, full press. But I don't know. West Brom, they look a team that doesn't have a lot of chances of staying up. They're not playing a lot of great football.
Sir, I got to Google throstle here. What type of bird is a throstle? It's I'm getting into the order, family, genus of this species. That's a little too much for me to talk about in the pie. It's a bird.
It's a bird.
Not the canaries, a brown bird. Players to watch as it comes to West Brom. Top scorer is Callum Robinson, 25-year-old Irish international with 2 goals, and Brazilian attacking midfielder Mateus Pereira with 2 assists. Sir, they got a little trickeration, and obviously, they're going to be trying to hit us on the counter. Formation, Bilic, Simon Bilic. You know him, the balding. I believe is he Serbian or Croatian?
I don't remember, but he's former West Ham manager. Looks hard, and does play the old English style. Remember when he was a West Ham manager, got the sack, brought West Brom back up, could be going back down with West Brom at the end of the season if he doesn't get sacked.
Slaven Bilic. So sorry about that. And he is Croatian. So I was right at the first guess. He's going bald. He should shave it. Just a recommendation to, what was it? Slaven, not Simon. English version of Slaven.
You got the last name right. Works for me.
He's likely to pack the midfield with the 4-5-1 and force United to cut them open, sit back and counter. That's what lower opposition like to do. Can we break him down? Like you said, Juan Mata, might see that man in there. Sir, physioroom.com, injuries exploded. All of a sudden, we were like sitting pretty early season. Now everyone's injured. Number one player, we need back Phil Jones, knee injury. He's out. Potential return Christmas. All I want for Christmas is Phil Jones back in the lineup. Luke Shaw, he's out till mid-December. That's a real tough one, sir.
Yep.
That's his thigh. Mason Greenwood, he is an other. There's no real kind of notes here. He's could be available for West Brom. TBD. Obviously, we've seen all the articles in the press. Him and the next man here, Marcus Rashford, shoulder injury. Same thing, unknown. We'll hear more on Ole's presser probably coming up tomorrow or the next day. Bailly, same situation, could be available for West Brom. Lingard, same. Martial, back injury, no update. Lindelof, no update, back injury as well. Martial was with France, then all of a sudden he's out. So Tony Martial, is he available? I don't know. Lindelof, no update. So this could be a big presser with Ole. I believe it'd be Friday, right?
Yep.
So the presser with Ole Friday, watch that. We'll tweet it out. We'll get the update on a lot of these injuries, a lot of maybes. It kind of queues up during international break. You don't know, and then you have that big press conference, and Ole will give the update.
We'll have an update on the team news on the blog. We'll have a preview ready to go probably Friday. But like you said, part of this is like so many games, right? That Luke Shaw injury that you pointed out at the beginning, it's a big one. We're going to lose him for sure, 6-7 games, important ones over the next, 4 weeks. So I think it's a product of getting rid of those extra fourth and fifth substitutes. I don't know why they would do that with all these games and be like, nah, let's go back to 3.
It's funny. At the beginning of the season, I was glad they didn't make it 5. And then now I'm, as a fan, you kind of just want to respect, I'm a purist, sir. I don't want the 3. The 5 just seems like, preseason to me. But now after seeing all these injuries, especially, and I didn't know the schedule either. Like the Champions League schedule is insane. So the amount of fixtures we have to play, 9 games in December, sir. That's probably 3.5 days on average we're playing, and you need those subs. So you're totally right. Something's got to give, and hopefully, by January they'll amend it and they'll allow more subs. But the whole thing is once you allow 5 subs this time, next season is going to be 5. It's going to be hard to go back to 3 after you've done it, right?
No, I agree, but this is uncommon times, and the fact that they're playing this many games is absurd. And it's like they shouldn't have. The fact that they went on an international break during a pandemic when they're shoving all these games in the first place, it's kind of crazy.
They're soft. 1962 was the first sub.
It's all about money. It's all about cash, bro. They got to protect the players.
Sir, subs didn't exist until the 60s, and then you had to be injured to come off. So you couldn't get a sub unless there was an injury. So now we're you get 5 subs, but before that. 50s, you just had to play. If you got injured, you were down a man.
Yeah, but were they playing 65 games a year?
Probably not, but sir, Old English. That's how we like it.
Exactly.
I like my ales dark. I like my football Old English.
I like my fries soggy. Chips are always soggy in the UK. That's the one guarantee.
Sir, love the fish and chips in the UK.
Of course.
Given those injuries, the uncertainty, I already have to change my lineup based on what we went through. What is your lineup? What does your crystal ball say?
Sir, if I was picking this dude a physio room, I would not be able to pick the starting 11, but here we go. De Gea and net, world number 1, you got it. Back 4, AWB, Lindelof, Maguire, Telles, and then midfield of Fred, McTominay, and Donny van de Beek. Mata, Rashford, and Greenwood up front. I'm going to rest Bruno, bring him in only if you need him, because we got a lot of games coming. And Donny, he can use some minutes.
There you go. For what it's worth, I have heard that Rashford is going to be available. So I'm going to say Dave saves Aaron Wan-Bissaka. This is going to be Twanzebe, Maguire, Williams, Fred, McTominay, Bruno, Rashford, Cavani, Greenwood, sir. What a lineup. What a team. We do it against West Brom. Cavani with the brace. I'm going to say Rashford gets a goal as well.
How can we lose, sir? What do the bookies have to say?
Manchester United to win minus 340. Heavy favorites draw plus 470. And then West Brom plus 900. So United heavily favored in this match. Not really anything to pick on the board here. Edison Cavani to score plus 360. Rashford plus 360. Igalo plus 360. Can you imagine we paid Shanghai Shenhua $6 million plus how much of his wages? £10 million for Igalo to just sit on the bench this year? Doesn't make any sense to me. That's how Ed Woodward likes to do it, though. Mason Greenwood plus 460. Martial plus 550. We know he's probably not available. And then Bruno plus 650. So, again, you have all the strikers who are going to feature probably Cavani, Rashford, Igalo, Greenwood. I think that's what the odds makers say. That's who's going to play. So I said Rashford, Cavani, Greenwood. I don't know who you said, but you're probably wrong.
Certainly wrong. It's up to the bookies who's scoring first because Igalo, dead on. Third most likely to score without a doubt. After all the games you've watched, come on.
Given the bookmakers, what's your score prediction? Who do you got?
I'm calling 2-0. I think it's going to be one of those matches, unfortunately, where they sit back and it takes us a while to break it down. But we get the goal, keep the clean sheet, and march on from there.
Like I said, Cavani brace, Rashford goal, probably an assist as well. 3-1. You know we're good for giving up a goal at the back. But again, I think good things for United. This will be a good win, kick on Istanbul. It's just like you kind of you're coming back from international break. You need this win, eat this win, Istanbul, and then you gear up for the bigger games. And I think this would be great for the team. We need to spread the love a little bit. Get that rotation going, sir. Work that potion, Ole. We need to be getting because this is how, in order, you look at that schedule, rotation. You need Cavani to be rested. Then you need him coming off the bench and winning you against West Brom. Then you need to flip it, beat PSG, then get away with one. It's really, I'm telling you, this is probably the toughest test a manager has had to face at Manchester United if you look at this fixture schedule.
And this is the run to basically for Ole to keep his job. I hate to say it, but just the way this club is already positioned. No, I'm not doing it. But the fact that they were already mentioning Mauricio Pochettino 3 weeks ago after a couple bad games is, it will inevitably happen if we're in a position where we're fighting, to even get into the top 10 by New Year's. I think we're going to be comfortably in fourth or even in the race for a title, sir. Hopefully within a grasp. But this is a hard run of games and you have to start it with 2 big wins and kick on from there because those games get much tougher and you can't underestimate the first one.
Sir, you're have a dark ale. You're worried about Ole's job already. We haven't even played a match. Have a dark ale, enjoy it, sit back, relax. Let's just let it play out. That's part of the game as a fan. Let's let it play out and then lift that title at the end of the year. I'm a believer. I think Manchester United pole position, baby. Dark horse. 21 times.
It's wide open. It's wide open.
International Reds. Quick update on the international break. Dan James scored a banger and got an assist with the man of the match performance against who? Finland, sir. He just murked Finland. So you want to know where Dan James is on that meter of world class. Merkin Finland, he's great at it. I think Dan James is a player. It's funny. You get to the Pogba stuff. Sometimes for a player like James to go play for Wales, have a man of the match performance against Finland is a boost he needs to come back into United and play well. So I'm not going to overlook that. Harry Maguire led the line versus Iceland in their 4-0 win. Another clean sheet. Harry, the captain, it's great for him.
He's been excellent. It's exactly what you're saying. Some players needed form, needed time to get minutes. Dan James, great example. Plays with the international team, looks lights out. He looked actually terrific in this game, was putting in good balls. And Maguire, too, a guy who's getting a lot of criticism, and he goes and captains for his international team and puts in a hell of a performance.
Scott McTominay, 90 minutes in a 1-0 loss to Israel. They've already qualified. So congrats to Scotty. I think he's going to be featuring a lot for United. He's looking great. Donny scored against Spain. Didn't do it against De Gea, if you're wondering there. But again, great goal from Donny. He looks absolutely sharp. Cavani scored versus Colombia in the 3-0 win, and then he was sent off against Brazil against who? Richarlison. And then he clapped back. Richarlison clapped back at Cavani, said he could have broke his ankle. I don't know. I didn't see much in it. Edinson Cavani, United's number 7, sir, legend.
He's our boy. I guess there's some bad blood from that game, from the Everton match a couple weeks ago. But that being said, everybody knows Uruguay, Brazil, huge rival. It's going to happen.
No,
shit pops off.
No, and we're playing Everton in December. It'll be great to see those two on the pitch. So if you want to see the extra spice, you're going to see that for Cavani versus Richarlison. Next, Bruno started both matches in Portugal. The 1-0 loss to France and the 3-2 win versus Croatia. And Paul Pogba started all 3 games for France, 2 wins and a loss. And by the way, he's very, very happy playing at France.
He's really happy.
Which is the opposite of what he is somewhere else, but you can't really say. Again, you talk about a lot of things international break. This subject with Paul Pogba, I just want to be talking about Paul Pogba scoring goals and playing great for Manchester United. This is just riffraff.
No, it's a shame. It's a shame, really, because it's like, okay, there's one thing if you got, the rags throwing together a nothing kind of like clickbait thing. Now you have like the player saying shit again, and you got now his coach Didier Deschamps saying shit again. It's just Didier had like a little chipmunk teeth, bro. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
United in the news, sir. You said it. Let's jump right into this article here. I don't even know if it's an article. Manchester United's Paul Pogba calls France duty, breath of fresh air. Shots fired. He's getting fresh air in France. What do you make of this?
I'm joking. It was 2 articles. The ESPN one obviously picked up Pogba's quotes a couple days ago about how great it is.
Just hold on.
So you level up,
Just hold on. I'm just going to say, Alex pulls together the podcast agenda. I heard maybe some chitter chat about Paul Pogba. I look in, there is literally like 4 paragraphs about the Pog drama. So I'm just like ready for you to just like rip into it.
I'm just giving you what's going on this week. It's been a lot to talk about. It's actually not bothering me because we have Bruno Fernandes on our team, and I feel like Paul Pogba hasn't played at our club for a while, sir. It's just like it's hard because the Paul Pogba that we have seen, that we know how good he is, that can rally a team around. It's just the lack of consistency, sir, is something that, whatever. We're not talking about that. We're talking about all this news.
No, I'm just saying you seem like a little fired up. It's okay to get fired up.
I'm just fired up because we're always fired up. We're fired up because I'm only fired up because Didier Deschamps doesn't need to be saying another thing. He said something last week about how unhappy Paul Pogba is playing at his club that pays him $25 million a year to play football. And he said it again. Daily Mail escalates row. Didier Deschamps with Manchester United boss Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for his treatment. How it comes to France, has the opportunity to express himself, sir. It's always the same. And then even Fabrizio Romano, I don't know if you know, a couple days ago.
Hold on.
I'm ripping through news, sir. There's so many things happening last week on Pogba that I almost don't want to talk about it.
You're so upset. You're seeing red. I don't even think you made sense. Here, let me read this. Quote. This is from Deschamps. Quote, like all players who have a club situation that is not positive, they are also impacted mentally. I know him well enough, and it can happen at some points. So he's trying to say who have a club situation that's not positive. Then also Pogba added fuel to the fire, saying, the national team is like a window being opened. It's a breath of fresh air, said Paul Pogba. Quote, I was talking with Anton Griezmann and Rafael Varane, and we were sat at lunch together. We were telling each other, guys, I don't know if we realize, but this squad is incredible. So again, it's like Paul Pogba's 2-timing us. There's this hot French chick he's dating over here. And then, the Manchester United weather ain't so good over here. And the one tweet I did tweet out was that Mourinho video talking about Paul Pogba and why he played so well for France. And, long story short, he basically says, when you play international tournament like the World Cup, you're isolated from everyone. You're with your team 24/7, and like the emotion of the tournament ramps up over time, and it's like basically a short period. And a player like Paul Pogba can excel without the distractions. But when you look at playing for Manchester United, you might have a small match here, going away here, big match here, and there's a lot of curveballs. And to be consistent in that format versus like a 1 month tournament is a completely different challenge. And ultimately, that is probably the best reason why Paul Pogba hasn't succeeded. There's been different managers. He hated Mourinho. He got Ole. There's been ups and downs. And the only person I honestly can say, I don't blame Paul Pogba. I don't know. Clearly, the money doesn't motivate him. Maybe he wants to be playing on an all-star team, I guess. Manchester United isn't that all-star team. Maybe Real Madrid is. But again, he was the one who wanted to come back to Manchester. He's the one who started. Him and Mourinho, something didn't go along. I think Paul Pogba comes with some sort of shenanigans. It'd be hard to say he doesn't. In the locker room or whatever it is, I think it was social media with Mourinho or something. But it's just not working with two different managers, and it's been that many years, and he's saying all this stuff about France. He knows what he's doing. You should pretty much just like prove everyone wrong with your performances on the pitch, and he's not even doing that these days at Manchester United, and it kills me that that's not working out, but it just is what it is. And I wish him the best. I like Paul Pogba. I want Paul Pogba to play well at Manchester United, and it doesn't seem to be doing right. And when he says stuff like this, it makes me think like, wow, maybe he's just not happy with our team. I don't think Ole's like this terrible guy. I just think he wants him to do a job that he's not doing.
Yeah, he's clearly not happy. You know, morale overall seems pretty high at Manchester United at the moment. You know, everything we're hearing from everyone else generally is pretty good, other than Romero, who's pissed that he wasn't allowed to leave and go to Everton. But Pogba, it's just one of those conundrums where like he's had his lights out performance for United, but it's a lack of consistency. And that's the difference, man. That is the difference between being a great player and a world-class player. And like, I know Paul Pogba is world-class, but you have to show up day in, day out. And even if you're not great day in, day out, you have to give it all. And like,
he's going to play well when he leaves.
No, of course he will. He will probably win a Champions League. He will win a Champions
Yes.
League likely. He will win titles wherever he goes. If he goes to Italy, back to Italy, or if he goes to Spain, he will win titles. He will do very well. And everyone will say, oh, look how terrible United did in getting the best out of Paul Pogba. And they will trust me, they will blame United first and foremost before blaming Paul Pogba.
But don't you have to think that like they got Pogba, then they got Lukaku, and then the board stopped backing. You know, like there had to be. If you're trying to get a player like Pogba, don't you need to kind of go the Galacticos type of way, and you need to sign those big names and continue to invest in the team? And so it was kind of like something we don't know. Something could have been promised to him behind the scenes, and it wasn't delivered on. It could have been the board, it could have been the Glazers, could have been Woodward, could have been a lot of different things. Maybe there's something else in it, but as fans, we don't know. We won't know until Pogba's retired and the book is written. Or, you know, something like that. It will all come out. I'm just saying, look, it's not working. I like Paul Pogba. I think he's a hell of a player, sir. You see him play for France, you know, in the World Cup, played lights out. I'm cheering for him. I still think there's time for him to play well at Manchester United. We can go on a run. He could be an integral part of it, sir. I'm trying to be an optimist.
I appreciate
I'm just saying, you don't need these comments. And when it seems like Deschamps is going hard at it and Pogba's going hard at it, it's like they're playing spin zone here, and that just seems like foul play because it doesn't seem like United is that terrible.
No, and it's also like...
Like, how can you come back to Carrington after saying all this stuff?
Well, he's contributing to like any kind of toxic environment that does exist. If he's looking for like a breath of fresh air, then he's probably just not that used to like dealing with adversity, my man. I mean, I hate to say it. Paul Pogba joined this club when he was 16. He left when he was 20, came back when he was 26. He had a bad attitude at 20. He had a bad attitude at 16.
Okay, you don't need to look. I don't know Paul Pogba. I don't know the full story, right? So all I can say is it's not working for him or the club. And look, he's probably pissed because he was going to be sold to Real Madrid for a lot of money, and United were going to get a good fee, and it didn't go through because of COVID, and he's stuck here, and he's just kind of whinging. And that's what it sounds to me what's going on. But, you know, Paul Pogba, let's hope that he comes back, gets his head on straight, and the team can go on a run. Because if the team starts playing well, Paul Pogba will be a part of that. You know that he'll jump on board. He's not Roy Keane where he's going to grab this team by the scruff of the neck and take him over the finish line. He's going to jump in. If the team starts playing well, I think you'll also see Pogba playing well, right? So it's kind of, he likes that. You can tell what he has on France he doesn't have at United, right?
No, I mean, I get it. It's different. It's club versus country. It's a totally different thing. It's like love and money. It's like, you know, one's for business and one's for pleasure. You play for the national team, for the glamour and the glory and the pride of being a Frenchman and going to these tournaments and winning silverware. You go play for a club like Manchester United, it has a great history, and there's a million reasons why people want to play for this club. But, dude, we're all over Paul Pogba, mate. Like, I love Manchester United. I love this club so much. And he's been leaving for like two fucking years. Like, and at this point, I don't give a fuck. It's like I have Bruno Fernandes. We got Donny Van de Beek. We got a lot of exciting players.
You're hurt.
It's just that like it's over and over again. He's pouring us through. He's pulling us through.
The board is pouring us through because if a player doesn't want to play for you, you sell him. And so either So I actually think the move that was wrong was firing Mourinho and making Pogba your man. You should have sold Pogba and invested in, you have to pick. And they picked Paul Pogba. And what did Roy Keane say? These players will cost you.
Yeah, you can't put a player above the manager, above the club.
And they did.
And they did.
And they did.
And they
this
still
is where we
are
are
a little bit, right? They still are a little bit, aren't they? Because we're still kind of like we're getting dragged through again when we should talk about other stuff.
No, I know, but what happened with Fergie? It was something like this happens. You have the bust up with the player, the all-star players on the bench, you sell them, and instead they fired Mourinho. We got the best Paul Pogba for 10 matches, and since then...
If you had a DOF, would you bring him back? I mean, like, would Fergie bring him back? No, he wouldn't have.
No.
He let him leave, and he wouldn't have brought him back, and that's what I'm saying, is like...
So we could talk about Pogba a long time, sir. You can add up all the minutes we've talked about Pogba. Look, another a little lighter here. Barcelona, Real Madrid. Bruno Fernandes for more Manchester United transfer rumors, sir. Manchester Evening News. Bruno Fernandes. Some muppetry here. You think Bruno's going to bounce out of Old Trafford? There was the rumor of the row with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Who knows?
Every time he speaks and talks about Manchester United, it only builds my esteem for Bruno Fernandes. It's like he loves this club, wants to play for it, is building a relationship apparently with Cristiano. Talked to him before he joined, asked him about his time here. It's like, dude, he's here for the right reasons, wants to play, wants to win stuff, talking about like baby cups, Carabao Cups. We got to win everything. He's like, I want to win the baby cup. And I like that. He's just, dude, he's the real deal. He raises all ships. So you got me relentless. This book, Marcus Rashford's book, he talks about the difference between cleaners and closers, right? Closers is like the second level, cleaners the highest level. Bruno is a cleaner, bro. It's just like he's nonstop. He's a cleaner, dude. He has, I'm not saying he has the mentality. It's an elite mentality, and it's like you will never stop pushing for perfection. You can never reach perfection, but you always push harder every single day, and he's got it, and that's exactly what this team needs right now. And that's why I would love to talk about all these rumors about people trying to buy Bruno from us, because he's unbuyable. So what did you see on Twitter?
I said not
priceless,
for sale.
baby. Yeah, not for sale. Also.
Look, I'll tell you what. Have Alex talk about some Paul Pogba banter. He's fired up. He kind of like international break. We're a little off. We're coming back. We're coming back for international break. We're a little
Rusty.
off. And now Alex is, you're back, baby.
Fired up. What are we talking about? Financials?
Next bit of news. Manchester United reports Q1 financials. This is a right. Look, I will be blogging the financials. I'm literally American Red Devils fam. I'm dying at the moment. I got the 1-year-old kid. I got a move coming up, and of all my spare time where I would go through all the financials, I haven't had the time to go through and write the blog article. It isn't January yet, so usually fans care more about our financial position when there's potential transfers. But I'll sum it up now, and eventually I'll be able to do that deep dive probably early next year. They did file their annual report. We cover the conference call. We post that to YouTube. If you want to hear what Ed Woodward said, you can go to our YouTube channel and you can listen to the call. It's really interesting to just hear it from the horse's mouth. Then they filed Q1, and they're not doing a conference call. So that's not really standard for Wall Street. Essentially, United is basically saying, it's not going well, we're not losing money, and they're pretty much not providing any forward guidance or investor conference calls until they understand what the UK government is going to do with fans in stadiums. Because until they have fans in stadiums, the revenue is completely just blown up. Their Q1 financials, they lost £27 million in operating profit. That's not good. Operating profit, they need to be making money. They're losing money. And they have about 59 million pounds in cash. So when you see us linked to these big deals already in social media, there is no money to pay for this. There is literally no money to pay for this. Here's a quote from the filing. Quote, "We, Manchester United, and their lawyers, cannot assure you that our cash generated from operations, cash and cash equivalents, or cash available under our revolving facilities will be sufficient to meet our long-term future needs, particularly in light of the ongoing nature of COVID-19 and its continuing impact on the global economy and our business. We cannot assure you that we could obtain additional financing on favorable terms or at all, including as a result of changes or volatility in the credit or capital markets, which affect our ability to borrow money or raise capital, including as a result of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic." That's literally like...
That's a new one, right? Like, that's new. Like, we are going to run out of cash. We cannot guarantee that we will continue to make enough money to operate or raise money in case we can.
Yes. But... No, so like I said how much money do you need in working capital to run Manchester United? It's a seasonal business, right? Football, they have off seasons and you have highs and lows and how much money you're making. I was like, what's the floor of cash you would need for Manchester United? I said 50. They have 59. So when they're this close, their lawyers make them put in this language.
Yep.
You know, when I worked on Wall Street, I work on these filings. I worked on public offerings. They put this there as liability, and their lawyers are telling them it has to be there because they're getting close.
Levered to
you
like
have
nines.
like $800 million in debt obligations, and you have no money, and you pretty much are tapped out as far as raising money. And so this sucks to talk about as fans. I'll write a scathing blog, and then I'll tweet it out. I'll be good. And then the most irritating part about this,
keep
we
going.
haven't even gotten to it. So like, first of all, they're like, we might go bankrupt.
But
Then they say, but we will be paying out a semi-annual cash dividend on our Class A shares.
Unbelievable.
So they're still going to pay the dividend. And then on top of that, the 16th of November, 2 days ago, they filed 20F, which basically means they're getting ready to sell stock. And guess what? None of that stock goes to fund the club, right? So essentially, the Glazers could sell stock in Manchester United. That could raise money for the club to get them through this tough time, but that would dilute the Glazers' ownership, so they wouldn't do that. So actually, they're getting ready to just sell shares, their own personal shares, which if you look at the Class A shares that I think Joel, Avram, and Darcy Glazer have, it's about $45 million. They'll pocket that money at the current valuation. They'll just let this club drown. Something, you know, they're milking this club dry. It's terrible. The financial, I would like to see the club shoring up the balance sheet, raising money, getting through this long winter, and getting ready to invest when the market is tough, right? United could be positioning themselves for success right now, and instead they're pulling money out of dividends. They're going to be selling their own shares, not putting it in the club, taking in their own pocketbook. Hashtag Glazers out. Green and gold scarves. So everything on americanreddevils.com that is Glazers out is literally sold at the cheapest price we can sell it for. The Glazers out scarf is $9.99. The Avram Glazer clown nose shirts, I think $14.99, sir. It's like Glazers out all day. This is terrible, and I got to be writing more about it. I'm just like, I gotta move. I gotta move.
I mean, the club is basically like on a respirator, and you have like the owner coming in and selling one of the kidneys on the way out. It's like he's dying. We are dying. We're on the ropes, and he's like still paying out that dividend. Like the fact that they have not paused the dividend for 12 months, like it's absurd. The fact that they're still going to pay out a $20 million dividend.
It's
absurd.
It kills me, and we're gonna get to the history section. You talk about John Henry Davies. You talk about the people who found this club, what they did for this club during their lifetimes, and how this club was built over 130 years, and where we are today with the Glazers owning it. It's a crime. Anyone who owns this team should know what this means to this team. Means something to the world. This is the number one club in the world. The history of this team, and they're just like. I don't want to say too many bad words in the pod, but they're like really they're treating it so poorly when so many people like love and cherish this team, sir. I mean, 9 games in December, 9 pods in December, sir. I mean, come on.
It's sad because both of us have finance backgrounds, and we just see what's happening, and it's just like they are taking it apart piece by piece and just selling it for like scrap at this point. We're going to muscle through this pandemic, and hopefully by the spring, I would hope players, we can start having fans in the stadium at some capacity. That will help, but like they have to just get through the dark winter.
You can't win. Organizations, I believe it's like you can't win with this ownership.
No,
you can't. Like they came in, Fergie was basically the anomaly. And then now it starts at the top, man. You can't hire Mourinho and not back him and then fire him. You can't hire Ole as interim manager and then just like, I'll give him the job and then not back him.
Right.
The playbook, whatever they're doing with taking money out, not investing in this team and running it this way is not working. And soon it will be against their business interests. And then they will sell it. I mean, like, yes, it is now. But look, if you talk about this club's been through World War I, this club's been in World War II, it's been through another pandemic, sir. It will survive. There might be new owners. They might sell. There's plenty of things that might happen, but I will always support this club, and I will report on this. I will get the financials out. Scathing articles are coming. It's just going to take some time. Got to move. Got to move. And
We're
everyone moving ain't fun right now.
American Red Devils are on the ropes as well. We're holding on. We got to get to the next game. West Brom, sir. We need 3 points. I can't break down a West Brom loss, sir. I can't
All
do
right.
it.
Fan questions. You guys looking at the real MVPs here. International break fan questions. Love it. At @Ant_Trioa. Quote, thoughts on the mainly European U.S. men's national team? The youth was everywhere with the MLS players there that weren't playing as well as Pulisic. I think the U.S. can be dangerous in qualifying. Ant, I really appreciate the U.S. men's national team question. Alex shaking his head. He's
I got no idea.
Okay, no, look, Gio Reyna is the real deal. McKennie, the jury's out. You know, I think at the end of the day, it's going to come to goals. How can we set up, right? Because traditional American teams, heavily defensive, playing without the ball, counterattacking, trying to hit that. You know, we were kind of like the West Brom, really internationally, and we were dangerous. But you know, Sargent step up at number 9 and be the striker? Pulisic on the wing. I think we just got to. Again, we just need some more players who can pop up, share the love. I think qualifying, we're going to qualify for the World Cup. Clearly, it killed me when we didn't before. So I'm confident in this team. I'm not confident in the coach, Berhalter. I mean, Berhalter's the poor man, Slaven Bilic, sir. The poor man, Slaven Bilic. Although he did shave his head. Again, I'm worried about the coach. I just don't know if he can drive that car like we talk about here on the pod.
Yeah, I mean, it's like talking about United. You got to worry about the football. Who runs football in the United States? Like a bunch of Goldman bankers?
Yeah, exactly.
So there you go. That's why we're not winning the World Cup anytime soon.
Look, but I think the talent's there. You know,
No doubt.
I do think the talent's there, and we're going to be doing a U.S. men's national team takeover podcast with our buddy Mike. He's the expert on U.S. men's national soccer. That will be coming up next year. We're very excited for that. Next tweet at Man United DYL, quote, who is your guys' favorite current player? Good question. Good question, sir. Favorite player, Paul Pogba?
It's hard. It's like probably Rashford, him or Bruno, but it's got to be Rashford just because he's the academy lad. I love Bruno, though. It's hard. I'll call him Marcus. Marcus.
Okay, you recall her. Favorite player right now, there's too many to say, you know, in my opinion. Bruno's kind of like the gut reaction. I like De Gea. I've always liked De Gea. He came from Spain. He stole donuts from Tesco.
Amazing. Amazing.
You know, he could have left. He wanted to leave for Madrid, and then he stayed. He stepped up. I mean, and he's also underrated. I just got much love for Dave. I got much love for Dave, dude. I really do. And I don't think he gets the love. So you got to shower a little bit on De Gea. At Timber_bro, quote, what's the best position for Donny Van de Beek to play if Bruno's already in the number 10 spot? Donny Van de Beek has to see the field. I do agree here, sir. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. What do you play, like one of those kind of crazy hybrid formations that almost plays like a 4-2-2-2, where you play 2 10s that I think RB Leipzig was playing last year a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I would love to see the two of them together on the pitch more. I mean, you're not really going to displace Bruno Fernandes number 10 at Manchester United anytime soon. He's been the most consistent performer in the Premier League since he joined United.
But Donny 4-3-3.
4-3-3, you could play like, because Donny Van de Beek can play as like a false 9. He can kind of play as an inverted winger. I think you just get him on the pitch and in the box.
I mean, I would play 4-3-3 and put Pogba, Van de Beek, and Bruno in the midfield, Bruno in the middle, and then, you know, that would be...
Who's playing defense? Who's playing defense?
But that's FIFA. I'm just saying, if I'm
Exactly.
playing FIFA,
Yeah,
that might...
if we're playing FIFA,
but look, no, I totally agree. At JM McLiver on Twitter, quote, do you think Telles will be able to seamlessly fill Shaw's role for Manchester United? What do you think, sir?
He better, because we need it. Because what happened last time Luke Shaw went injured last year, I think our form dipped seriously because that left side of the pitch was not as dangerous as it had been with the impossible Luke Shaw busting forward. Tell us, I mean, I think the only minutes we've seen is the PSG game with him as an inverted wingback, so we need him to.
That's his job. That's why we got him. Tell us about Telles, sir. Next tweet. At Bleeding Red SD11, quote, I'm personally just disgusted with the English press and all the negative bullshit they have put out on Mason Greenwood. For grown men to write such rubbish about a 19-year-old kid is pathetic and should not be tolerated. Couldn't agree more. And also, I would have to note they did do an article about Marcus Rashford as well, like a cheeky...
About buying houses, about him like accumulating property and he had like a dark hoodie on looking real.
It's one of those things where... You know, as it comes to the rags in England, it's like going over there, I buy them. I think they're funny. But this agenda they have, and again, Sterling got it before Rashford and everybody. It's kind of weird, and I don't know where it comes from. I really don't know where this like kind of agenda comes from, but for some reason, like, young talent like Mason Greenwood, they kill. And it's part of the game they play. Like Phil Foden, they don't ice him as much as they ice Mason Greenwood, and it's just one of those things where, you got to call a spade. It's racist.
It is. I mean, it is, because one thing, Mason, he's had some shit this year, right? He had the whole Iceland thing, but he's also dealing with some shit. His close buddy committed suicide, like, I think within last month. He's been dealing with a lot of stuff. He's 19 years old. We have to give him some credit. Going after him, low blow to begin with. And then you going after Marcus Rashford, like the chosen one, like the guy who's like going above and beyond. We didn't even talk about him. He started a new book club. It's just like, it's something, I don't know what it is, English rag thing, but they like going after big time players, and it's a bad look.
Well, hey, look, it's just one of those. I don't get it. As far as English press goes, it's something they do, and hopefully we won't see it anymore. I like how more people are talking about it, and we appreciate the tweet, because I don't think they should be printing those articles. It makes no sense. It's like there's no, Rashford buys houses while he saves the world. Like, okay, yeah, well.
And pays taxes.
Rashford makes sound financial investments while he solves child poverty in the UK. It's like, okay, what's there to read there?
I don't know.
Okay. Manchester United history part 2. This is big. Alex and I, we put a lot of work into developing these history segments. And you know what? We're not history buffs here, sir. We're going to stumble. We're going to rumble. We're going to mispronounce things. But the whole thing is learning the rich history and studying Manchester United. We also point you in the direction of places that you can read about it, the books that we've read, the different websites we've gone to as well. Because I think part of it for us fans is we're learning all the time. We know a lot about the history of Manchester United, but rereading it and going through it, especially in the format where we're going to cover it on the podcast, I love history, and I love this history of this club. It's unbelievable. I can't believe all the nuggets we find, sir. Match fixing scandals in 1906. We're going to get into it here. That's right. Manchester United history part 2. Manchester United is born. We're covering the period from 1902 to 1915. Sir, you're going to do a quick recap of kind of last history segment, which you can read, listen to on our last international break. We're going to be posting on our website as well on our history section. Sir, give us that little recap about Newton Heath.
And we're going to do it real quick. We talked about it last history pod. We talked about the history of Manchester, the history of Northern England, and the divisions between Manchester and Liverpool and how that changed throughout the 19th and into the 20th century. But let's talk about Manchester United. Let's talk about the origins of that. 1878, of course, Newton Heath LYR Football Club was founded by the carriage and wagon department of the Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway Depot at Newton Heath. We started from the bottom. Now we're here. 1892, Newton Heath joined the first division of football. It was a rocky road up and through the late 19th century, dropping down, having hard times with debts, always having difficulty funding the stadium. Really just like rough up until 1898, highlight of the 19th century for United winning the Lancashire Cup against the mighty Blackburn Rovers, who were actually a pretty big team in England at the time.
Yeah, so I mean, Newton Heath was founded by the carriage and wagon department of Lancashire and Yorkshire Railway. Eventually, it was just leisure. Then it got spun out into an actual club when leagues started forming in 1982. In 1892, they joined that first division, and that was the only year they spent in the first division. They were relegated after that, and so we were basically a second division struggling side coming into the 1900s, sir.
But then Manchester United is born in the 20th century, January 1901. It starts with a little help from man's best friend. We talked about it last time. Debts of close to £2,700, equivalent to almost $300,000 in 2020 dollars. United was served with a winding up order. Captain Harry Stafford, tireless fundraiser for the club, used his St. Bernard's dog, famously Major, to solicit cash from a variety of charities around Manchester. Happened to be in February 1901. The club, as usual, was utterly strapped for cash. Stafford organized a fundraising bazaar in St. James Hall in Manchester Town Square to raise the £2,700 they needed to stave off bankruptcy. The day was a disaster. Major got away, disappeared. A couple days later, local a local wealthy brewer owner, John Henry Davies, who would eventually become the club president, was looking for a dog, saw the missing dog poster in a local newspaper. Stafford, John Henry Davies got together for a little meetup. 3 other local businessmen got involved. They ended up investing £500 each, saved the football club that would eventually become the great Manchester United. Davies went on to become the president of the club. They ended up changing the colors and a new name. We talked about that famous meeting, sir, of fans, directors, and interested parties that met famously on the 26th of April, 1902. And the story goes that 19-year-old Louis Roca allegedly recommended the name Manchester United. The rest is history, and Louis Roca never paid for another beer as long as he lived.
No, absolutely. And so just to recap the history, the club was served winding up order. They're in debt. Obviously, Major, the dog, was found by John Henry Davies. There's a few different tales of how they exactly went down, but the Major, the dog, is how he met the captain, Stafford. And then John Henry Davies with, I think, 3 other local businessmen. They each invested £500 each, got the club basically out of debt, and then John Henry Davies elected the president. And then from there, John Henry Davies thought they needed they need to appeal to the greater Manchester area, and that is how the name Manchester United was chosen in 1902, sir. Jumping in about John Henry Davies, who was he? Why did he save Manchester United? Was it out of the good of his heart, sir? Was he born rich? What was this man? I'll tell you what. If you Google John Henry Davies, the guy, bowler hat, killer mustache, and he didn't rock the monocle. He was like the double monocle. There's like literally it just attaches to your nose. That's how baller this guy was back in 1905.
Like Morpheus style.
No, and like his if you look at the image of him, you see the team in this little bowler hat, mustache. John Henry Davies, I mean, legend compared to what the shit ownership we have now. So John Henry Davies was famous for, like I said, his bowler hat. He was born in Tutbury, Staffordshire, the 5th of 9 children of David Davies, a Welsh engineer from Mold, Flintshire, and Susanna Neil Davies from Bunbury, Cheshire. He grew up in Chorlton on Medlock, Manchester. Did not come from a wealthy family at all. He worked his way up, sir. He first moved into the brewing business in the late 1800s as director of John Henry Lee's Brewery in Moss Side. Look, there wasn't a lot going on. We talked about the poor life expectancy. Dark ales were a big thing here, and he was in the business of brewing those dark ales. And by the beginning of the 1900s, he was chairman of the Walker and Humphrey Brewery. Some of the beer names, I actually looked this up, from the Walker and Humphrey Brewery was Old Punch Ale and Comet Ale. Some hysterical labels I was able to find online. And you can see Old Punch Ale is basically like a jester, and it says the bottle with a punch in it. So you want to talk about a dark ale.
I bet it gets you loose.
Yeah, I was talking about marketing a beer. Like, this beer will fuck you up. It will punch you in the face. So John Henry Davies selling Old Punch Ale, making all this money. That's how he was able to invest in Manchester United. He clearly dark ales are popular in Manchester. So Davies, getting rich, he gained control of Stockport-based Daniel Clifton and Company, which owned around 50 pub and off licenses. In 1920, he founded the Moss Side Brewery Company and the Palatine Bottling Company. This is the man who made Manchester United. He is dark ale, sir. Dark ale in his veins, owns dark ales, feeding the public dark ales and giving them the best football team in the world. What a man, what a legend. Look up that man, the bowler hat, the double monocle, sir. He saw the commercial opportunity of football. If it wasn't for him, he saw all these fans drinking beers, yelling at these guys kicking this ball around. John Henry Davies, like, something in this. And after he purchased Newton Heath, he made a decision to upgrade their Bank Street ground. So he knew that was all about the fans. He knew that's the commercial opportunity, his business acumen, his love of the game, everything, perfect storm. John Henry Davies, he made Manchester United, and humble upbringing as well. Worked his way to the top and was able to, invest in Manchester United.
And what this club is all about at the end of the day, this club is it's from a hardworking town. It's Manchester, is not London. This is like a part of the country that is used to hard days. And it's become a lot more cosmopolitan in the last 20, 30 years. But Manchester used to be long days, sir. And you needed a beer with a punch in it.
An old punch.
Old punch ale.
Give me an old punch. I'll take an old punch.
A bottle with a punch in it, sir.
Old punch.
Why not? Have a good time. Ernest Mangal, the man who would eventually become the first great Manchester manager, take us to the promised land of the first title. But it started obviously with Davies, who had the vision for the club, knew about making something that would be shared amongst people in the Northland. We needed that injection of cash plus some players, so Davies gave the flagging side the boost it needed in the 02-03 season. They won 15 league games, notched up 38 points, and finished 5th in League Division 2. Following season, after a bad start, club took another important step in hiring their first real manager, and this is when United went from 0 to 60. Was hiring Ernest Mangal, charismatic publicist. Mangnall. Charismatic publicist who knew how to work the media. Never a bad thing for a manager. Fergie certainly did. Under his leadership, the team finished 3rd in 2nd division.
Well, think about it. There's no TV, right? So the written press was very important as far as like how the team was perceived throughout the region and, the greater UK. So, someone who knew the press. Also, the Manchester Evening News, they were founded in connection with Manchester United initially as well. So there was a lot of like papers and football clubs being linked because people wanted to read about the games, and there's also cartoons and postcards that were sent out at the time. So like fans weren't able to watch it in 4K, HD, 3D. They had to get a postcard in the mail.
Well, I think both Mangal and Davies knew about giving people what they want, whether it was dark ale, football, the papers. It's same today, unfortunately, whether, we need our stimulants.
So dark ale and postcards, papers, now Peacock Premium, sir.
Peacock Premium with commercials. Anyway, following season 04-05, United started getting things really going. 18 games undefeated after losing to Bolton 2-0 in September 1904 until they lost to Lincoln City 3-0 in February 1905. But then it's the Manchester City cheating scandal of 1905-06 that really kind of switched things up, sir, right, for Manchester United.
Yeah, because we were a fledgling club. We had Mangal come in. We saw the promise of the 18 games unbeaten. You can go to 11v11.com. You can look at Manchester United. You can look at these years and the fixtures. It's pretty incredible when you see this team. Not a lot of history, not a lot of money behind it. Just came out of debt. Division 2 team. Sir, and you say it, like in the beginning, City were actually the better team in Manchester. United were kind of this fledgling side, and like you said, this Manchester Shitty. They've been shitty since 1905. Sir, tell me about the Manchester Shitty cheating scandal.
And guess what? It started with a fight. Manchester, for our very origins. First, actually, it was the final match of the 1904-05 season. City lost to Villa 3-2, and there was a massive brawl at the end of the game. FA launched an investigation, found out there was a report that a City player, Billy Meredith, was overheard offering Alex Leake, a Villa player, 10 quid to let City win the match. You have to remember, back in the day, players were making like nothing. They were living oftentimes with second jobs, and
I think it was £4 a week was like the wage limit at the time.
Right. So think about that, 10 quid extra, which is like 2.5 weeks wages. It's a big deal back then, probably by a lot of punches of bottled punches, whatever that was. Following season, Meredith was banned. He's upset. He took the fall, and he basically just started airing all the city's dirty laundry. Very similar to what happened with the UEFA links or all the financial fair play in the modern era. It's very similar.
100 years later, Portuguese hacker leaks the documents, and then City gets it again. But again, City's been cheating since the beginning, and this is great to read about, sir. I love reading about this.
Keep going. Basically, found out City players were paying. Manchester City were paying their players over the wage cap of 4 quid per week. And the investigations revealed that City were indeed paying way over, fined, and they had the directors removed. 18 players ended up being banned playing until January of 1907. And City, pushed to the brink, were forced to auction off its players. Mangal.
This is where Manchester United come in, baby.
What do you do, baby? You see, Woodward talked about you wait for opportunity. We were waiting for this summer window. Mangal actually did it back in 1907. He bought star defender Herbert Burgess, Alex Sandy Turnbull, and Jimmy Bannister, and, of course, Billy Meredith, the star winger from City, who led to this whole unveiling of all City's dirty laundry. So they sold off basically most of their team.
United pick them up, right? City are basically like they're dying financially. They sell all their players. We pick them up, sir. What happens?
Dude. Beginning of the greatest club in the history of clubs, Sir Mangal created United's first successful side, eventually winning promotion in 1906. They would go on to finish second overall and reach the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, beating holders Aston Villa, one of the founding clubs, one of the most successful clubs of English, certainly that era. 5-1 in the fifth round. Comes full circle, ends up being paid off. Manchester United win their first league title, first of many, 1907, 1908. Next year, FA Cup success would follow as they beat Bristol City in the final, which actually was probably a bigger deal at that point. FA Cup was a huge deal. Yep. So Sandy Turnbull scored the only goal, and Billy Meredith was named man of the match.
Think of that.
Sure, sky's the limits, right? For United.
No, but like you got to think about this as a big picture. City, cheaters, always been cheaters. We get all their good players, and then we go on to win. And it's like the dominoes, sir. You can't make this up. Like City had all these players. You say Turnbull scored, Meredith, man of the match in the FA Cup that we win our first FA Cup. The next year, following our first league title. I mean, this is all because shitty. We're built.
We're shitty.
We're shitty. It's in their DNA. You read their history, in their DNA. They're shitty. We benefit from it. Then Manchester United. Look, John Henry Davies, 1909. We're playing at Bank Street, sir. The chemical factory at Bank Street. It's killing us. We're coughing. Players dying. They're hurting. It's no good. That stadium was not fit for a team that had recently won the first division in the FA Cup. Because of those wins, Davies scouted Manchester and found an appropriate site for settling on a patch of land adjacent to the Bridgewater Canal, just off the north end of Warwick Road at Old Trafford, sir. That is right. Old Trafford, we made the move 1909 because of those wins, because of shitty being shitty. John Henry Davies, he drops 60,000 quid into the team to build Old Trafford as we know it. What an amazing owner. You think about the Glazers taking the money out. This guy's pouring the money in. He sees the opportunity here. Old Trafford, a little history, was designed by Scottish architect Archibald Lech, who designed several other stadia at the time. The ground was originally designed to fit 100,000. Could you imagine? We're talking 1909, trying to fit 100,000 people. Featured seating in the south stand under cover. There's great photos online. You can see this. You want to Google it. While the remaining three stands were left as terraces and uncovered, including the purchase of the land, it cost around £60,000. However, they tried to hit the 100,000 spectator mark, but as everything, budget exceeded, and they ended up finishing the capacity to around 80,000. Old Trafford, just kind of fast forward a little bit, the biggest attendance they ever had pre-World War II was December 27, 1920. 70,000 spectators watched the Red Devils lose to Aston Villa. So again, Aston Villa, big powerhouse, but can you imagine 70,000 spectators still in the original Old Trafford that John Henry motherfucking Davies with a double monocle built?
You think you were allowed to drink dark ales in the stands back then? I bet you were.
I think they banned it for a little bit of time. I did read something about that. I can't confirm if you could get the old punch ale, the old punch in the face ale. They played their first game at Old Trafford on February 19th, 1910, as Liverpool spoiled the opening celebrations with a 4-3 win in a close game. Can you imagine that? Liverpool pipping us. First game at Old Trafford. That's a terrible stat. And Ernest Mangal's leadership brought United into their first successful era. They'd be the first winners of the Charity Shield, the founding Charity Shield match. And ironically, the Glazers put in a bid to get rid of it. You remember that in their football appeal? And they won the league again in 1911, pipping Aston Villa on a tense last day of the season. That is, as is tradition for Manchester United. And they also won the Charity Shield again in 1911. And that would be the end of an era for Mangal as he would leave the next year for Manchester City. Ironically, right?
All comes full circle.
So as this period's coming to an end, this was kind of the success. We talked about the FA Cup. We talked about the two leagues, the Charity Shield. And then this is sort of when there's an era of unionization for the players. And it's interesting that I can't say unionization. But Manchester United players, they were at the forefront of this, and particularly Charlie Roberts and Billy Meredith. You talk about the history there. Billy Meredith were instrumental in forming the Association of Football Players and Trainers Union, which the press would call the Players Union, in December 1907, the second attempt to unionize footballers. And since then, that is the Players Union today. that was found, like Manchester United players were a critical part of founding it. And obviously today it's the Professional Footballers Association, the PFA. And when the footballers threatened members of the union with suspension before the start of 1909-1910 season, Manchester United refused to relinquish their union membership and referred to themselves as the Outcasts.
Yeah,
there
baby.
are famous photo online where you see them all. There's a sign that says the Outcasts. And then eventually a compromise was reached between the Football Association and the union before the start of the season, which allowed the players to be union members and play. So Manchester United players taking a stand, the PFA goes all the way back, and to Billy Meredith, Charlie Roberts, a bunch of Manchester United players at the founding of the Players Union.
And that's, not just unique to Manchester United. That's something that's endemic of Manchester as a city. It's a labor town. They're actually on the forefront of pushing for like unionization at the turn of the century. £4 a week, and I'm sure the owners, the people that were selling tickets, were making more money than that. So,
well,
it had to be done. £4 a week, insane.
I like how they stuck to their guns, and that's part of it. And next bullet here, Mangal. He basically, after he left. T.J. Walworth. This guy is a riot. T.J. Walworth was appointed in September 1912 after Mangal left to go to Manchester City. And then he only lasted as manager or secretary for a month. And he was replaced by John Bentley at the end of October 1912. So technically the manager was the secretary. And then officially managers would be kind of appointed the manager. But they were known as secretary before then. And without Mangal, the club stumbled to 13th place in 1912. So right after he left, things kind of hit the skids. Attendances slumped to around 15,000 at Old Trafford. If you can imagine the 70,000 stadium with only 15,000. And the squad started to age under the leadership of John Bentley. So it didn't go well. John Bentley, not a great Manchester United manager, and he was one, but not a great one. They narrowly escaped relegation in 1914-15. So you can already see this phase. Maybe we're in this phase now. Right, you had the great phase. The manager leaves, players kind of disband, fans you're kind of hitting that lull. And what part of this lull? United were in a relegation battle, and there was actually, we kind of cheated as well. Liverpool and Manchester United match fixing scandal, the Great British Football Betting Scandal of 1915. That's right, Manchester United versus Liverpool on April 2nd, Good Friday. Ironically, 1915, United were fighting relegation and ended up winning the game 2-0. And that helped United stay up. After the match, handbills started to appear alleging that a large amount of money had been bet at the odds of 7-1 on a 2-0 United win.
Nicely done.
So who would have done that? So after this, the Football Association launched an investigation and found that players from both sides had been involved in the match rigging. Sandy Turnbull, who we talked about before, Arthur Whaley, Enoch West of United, and Jackie Sheldon, Tom Miller, and Bob Purcell, and Thomas Fairfell of Liverpool. Sheldon was a former United player himself, and he was the plot's ringleader, sir. So they kind of got together. They decided it needed to be 2-0. They put a large amount of money on 2-0, bet at the odds of 7-1. Although the players' main motives for the match fixing appear to be financial and not to save United from relegation, the 2 points won from that game were enough to earn them 18th place and safety. Yes, that's right. Manchester United avoided relegation in 1915 because they did a match. Liverpool and Manchester United players agreed to fix the match that United can win. Ironically, guess who was in 19th place that was going to be relegated? Chelsea.
Love it.
So
nothing wrong with that.
Chelsea was going to be relegated due to a match fixing scandal, but they did expand the league, and so Chelsea and Arsenal were spared the drop. So everything, all's well that ends well, sir. We did cheat. Players were banned for life, but we did stay up, sir. We avoided the drop.
That's all that matters. And maybe just as United can get their swing of things back together, there's the First World War, sir. Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Whoa.
Missing something?
Before we get into World War I, on December 28th, 1914, Jack Robinson was appointed as the first club's official manager. Previously, the club secretary had been responsible for managing. So
there's a trivia question for you. Who's the first official manager?
Yeah, so John Bentley. Then we had Jack Robinson, December 1914, sir. And then obviously football, as we know, would come to a stop with World War I.
And as you know, as the history books say, Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria shot in Sarajevo on the 28th of June, 1914, and the rest was history. World War breaks out. Football League suspended the outbreak at the finish of the 1914-15 season. That's basically a wrap, sir, until, 1920 when they restarted?
Yeah, it was so essentially war broke out. The Football League did finish the 1914-15 season. Obviously, certain players left. But again, that was the last official season. There was sort of a reserve league that went on during this time. And then obviously we have an in memoriam section for all the Manchester United players who perished during World War I. Alexander Turnbull, Sandy Turnbull, we did talk about him quite a bit in the history. He perished. Oscar Linkson, Hugh Kerr, Bernard Donaghy, and Arthur Beadsworth. So quite a period in football. There's a reason why there is that blank history there. And there is a reason why football clubs in the UK, they wear the poppy. That is to the poppy, if for those who don't know, the red badge they wear on the shirt, it's not as popular here in the United States, but essentially Remembrance Day is very big. It's observed on 11th of November in the UK to recall the end of the First World War. And the remembrance poppies are sold by the Royal British Legion, and that's a charity that provides financial and social, political, emotional support to those who have served or currently serving in the British Armed Forces. They are sold on the streets by volunteers in the weeks before Remembrance Day. So if you go to the UK early November or the weeks leading up to Remembrance Day, you'll see the poppy everywhere. That's why they wear it on their shirts. Also, there's a lot of moment of silences before the matches as well to remember that day and World War I. I don't need to go into that history, but everyone should know that we remember for a reason. Don't want to see that happen again.
Absolutely not, sir. And, a great end to chapter 2 of the Manchester United history. We are lucky just to be fans of this club because it has such a great history. We recommend all fans, read as much as you can, listen to blogs, listen to other podcasts, but it's a great club, and the history, it wouldn't be without all of the ways we started from to end up the club we are today. Started from the bottom, now we're here, from Newton Heath to Mangal to where we are today. Unfortunately, the Glazers own us now because back in the day, we had an owner that was putting money in instead of taking money out.
And that's the point, is to see kind of, could you start a club like the Glazers? No. Is it a sad story to see the Glazers as the current owners? Yeah. I mean, John Henry Davies would be rolling in his grave to see this. I mean, he put everything into this club. But there are ups and there are downs. You saw it, the initial success, like City had to sell their players. We capitalized on it. Then we go ahead and have a great era. Then we kind of hit the skids, and then World War I happens, right? Football's done. And this type of history we're living right now is kind of crazy in its own right. COVID, the season, the kind of project restart, what's going on right now with the fixtures, the Glazers, the financial situation with the club. So you know what? This club will survive anything. It's been through everything, and we will be hitting those highs again, sir. But I mean, what a history. Stealing City's players, winning the league, killing it. Manchester's red. I absolutely love it. And credit to Wikipedia, football on the firstworldwar.org, the Manchester United, the biography by Jim White, and of course the wives who allow us to spend our free time doing this podcast.
God bless the wives. We're going to need their good graces for the next 12 weeks. We got a lot of games coming.
Look, tons of games coming, sir. That's been the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed the history segment. We are not historians. We try our best. I'm sure by history section part 6 we'll be ripping these off like no problem, sir.
Well, it's gonna be recent. We can just slam the Glazers for the last 15 years of ownership.
We're just gonna be like title. I'm
going to have to break Fergie into multiple periods.
I know it's gonna be like early Fergie,
the 90s. We'll do like the 90s and the 2000s.
Great.
So
Look, America Red Devils, we're for fans by fans. You can support the pod on Patreon. Check out our online store at www.americanreddevils.com. Our blog, fan contributors, we really appreciate it. Write a review, sir. We got some downloads. International break. If you're listening, you're the OGs. Give us our top cities last 7 days.
Sir, number 1, how you doing? Brooklyn, New York. Tres Rivieras, Canada. Sir, your French is better than mine. Portalese, Ireland. Appreciate you. Pottstown, PA. Phoenix, Arizona. Wolverhampton, UK. How you doing? 7, St. Louis, Missouri. Acton, MA. Number 9, Dublin, Ireland. And last but not least, Juiz de Fora, Brazil. Probably butchered it, but appreciate all the
Brazil.
downloads. Fred, El Pastor. I guess it's rubbing off. People are listening.
Fred, I absolutely love it. Getting on the board. Look, I hope everyone has a good international break. We had Rick the Red. We got the history. West Brom preview. We're going to be back, baby. Saturday, 3 points. We're going to be killing them, sir. As always.
Kicking a blue.
We fall